Hello everybody and welcome back to the On Tabletop live stream here at UK Games Expo 2018. I am here with Mark from AEG and you have a couple of games to show off today. Before we kick into the actual interview though, I want to remind everybody the table in front of me is being raffled by the guys at Geek & Son. Make sure and go across and check it out because you could win yourself an epic gaming table. Mark, what have you got for me?
So I'm going to show you a couple of games here today. The first one I'd like to talk about is Thunderstone Quest. Thunderstone Quest was a very successful Kickstarter that we ran last year. We've now delivered on that Kickstarter with this very, very, very large and heavy box.
It's a little bit huge.
Yeah, it is a little bit huge, and it was interesting bringing it across the convention floor. I'm a lot fitter as a result of that exercise.
Well, see, I don't know, having this thing in front of you, you can maybe just use it like a bulldozer. Out the way, woo!
Yeah, it can be used for many things, but weight training is just one of them. It's also a very good game.
Okay.
We had a very successful launch last year. Did over $500,000 on Kickstarter.
Wow!
And
that's a lot of money.
5,000 backers.
Oh wow!
And I'm here because there's been a lot of inquiries since about people who didn't get on board first time. What's going to happen? What are you doing? So what I want to do is maybe tell you a little bit about the game for those people who don't know about it, and then talk about what we're going to do to make it available.
All right. Well, introduce me to the world of Thunderstone.
Thunderstone. So Thunderstone is a deck builder.
Yes.
First and foremost, you represent the leader of a party. And you are venturing into a dungeon in order to defend the city or the town or the village, which is portrayed on the board here.
Yes.
At the end of the game, you will fight a sort of boss monster.
Okay.
And then you will tally up the number of victory points that you have at the end, and accolades are poured upon the person who has contributed the most significantly to the defense of the city. Ah,
so it's like one of the old text-based RPGs. Hero, you have saved the day. We thank you and give you all the monies ever.
Exactly, that's exactly right. So, what do you do? Well, like most deck builders, you start off with a very basic set of cards. You have adventurers.
Bring them down so everybody can see.
Everyone can see. You have adventurers.
Yep.
You have some daggers to equip to those adventurers. You have what everybody needs to go into a dungeon, which is a lantern, because you need a bit of light in the dungeon.
I see. So these are lanterns here.
Those are lanterns.
Yep.
And finally, you have the shards of the old Thunderstones, the Thunderstone shards, and these can help you in times of emergency if you're wounded or if you just need that bit extra courage to wield your weapon. But as I say, like most deck builders, these are sort of fairly basic cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to spend your time visiting the village, recruiting new heroes, or buying weapons like this longsword.
Ooh, longsword! I love the art style that you went for these. Yeah. It's very, very classical fantasy. Very nice.
Spells. Every wizard likes to have a mirror image to make sure that if the monsters fight back, they pick the wrong one.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime you can make someone hit the wrong thing and waste their time while you sneak off into the shadows, that's fine by me.
Yeah. And then there's a series of different items that you can take in this case, it's a wand of light. In the actual game, as you can see on the board, there are 8 slots, which will have a variety of different things in them.
I see.
The box quite clearly comes with many, many different cards.
Yes.
And the way we've presented the game is you can actually adventure through a series of pre-constructed quests. There is a total of 14, which will introduce you to pretty much every card that's in the box. And then after that, you can play with random setups. We've got a variant that we call an epic variant, which is different again. So these 8 cards will change all the time.
Yes.
There are 4 different types of heroes. Predictably, clerics, fighters, rogues, and wizards.
Yes. So that's along here.
That's along here, and
let me quickly grab one of each, and we can get a look at the beautiful artwork. Because that's the thing that's really drawing me in this is it looks absolutely gorgeous. So this is our
cleric.
We have our
fighter,
and we have our
that's a wizard.
And awesome.
Left the slot open there so you can see how it works on the board.
Yes.
So. And then there are various other things. You can take some extra sort of rations, have some extra light, some potions to help you with wounds.
And these are all done as lovely little cut out wooden pieces. Very
Okay,
lovely.
so what you're doing is early on in the game, you're visiting the village, and occasionally with your adventures going to the wilderness where you can level up by fighting giant rats. So you're trying to not only build a deck, but you're trying to improve the quality of the cards in it. All of the heroes actually have different levels. So the top hero you see in each deck is a level 1, but if you go down, there is a level 2 and even a level 3 hero. So as the game goes on and as you defeat monsters and gain experience, the cards actually improve, and so your deck gets stronger, ready for the final fight with the boss at the end in the wilderness. There is a sort of actual dungeon, as you can see over on the other side of the table. This is where the monsters live. Each room will have a unique effect that may enhance the monsters or hamper your abilities within the room. And again, this is modular. The box is full of lots of different dungeon rooms. So each quest comes with its own set of dungeon rooms. And again, you can also go for random setups, which is all I've done here. And the monsters are also leveled. And you basically need to get light to get further into the dungeon and fight the more difficult monsters.
I see.
The boss will appear when you reveal a certain number of dungeon keys, and then everybody gets an opportunity to fight the boss at the end. So that's an overview of the game.
Yeah. How many people does it play?
It plays 2 to 4.
2 to 4? Nice.
Yeah. And actually, you say how many did you play? That's a kind of interesting lead into what we're doing with the next Kickstarter. So as I say, it was a very successful Kickstarter last year. But one of the things we became aware of was that people were very, very keen for both a cooperative mode and a solo mode. None of which were immediately available. We had a whole bunch of good ideas, but we didn't feel that they were ready at the time that we released the Kickstarter. And rather than come up with something that we didn't think was right and just push it out there, we wanted to actually take some time. And actually, I think having that sort of longer development process has definitely allowed us to get a bit more creative and have more ideas get involved into the mix before we've allowed it to brew.
It's one thing I've noticed with there are sometimes whenever I see a new rule system or a new game come onto the market, the game system works great. You can have a lot of fun with it, but it's only whenever the 2.0 version of it comes out, maybe the second or third print run, whenever a designer goes back and re-looks at some of the rules, retweaks things, tidies things up. Maybe there's just a little bit of the rule book that's not quite as clean as they want it. That's whenever you see the great thing, and actually holding back those aspects to actually get them right for people shows me that you actually really care about the games you guys make.
I mean, we think it's great as in the competitive version that we have, but we didn't want the co-op version to be like that, as you say. I mean, it was important to us that we wanted it to feel right. Yes. So the good news is and the other thing is that there, as I said at the start, there's a number of people who just didn't get onto the Kickstarter, so we wanted to give them an opportunity as well. So we're going back into Kickstarter in July. And the plan is that we're going to try and come up with a series of packages so that everybody's happy. So that if you want to buy the full big champion box, that will be available to back. And then for players who've already got that, there will be options where they can back the new content, which is aimed more towards the co-op. Though all of the cards that you get in the base set will be playing co-op, and all of the new cards that will come with that will also be available in the other mode. So it's not a separate game. It's literally just a different way to play the same game.
Well, it's the expansion on the world of the game that you've already made, and actually having the options for players who have already bought the game to actually get in and get the upgraded components. If I'm someone who has picked up this game on Kickstarter and I've been playing the hell out of it, it refreshes the game for me. It makes me want to play even more because I now have those new aspects to explore, which is very cool. Absolutely. And I've obviously played the co-op version in many iterations over the last few months, and we're very excited about it. It changes the story slightly in that the Guardian, the sort of boss that you fight in the end, will be actively attacking the village, and so you will actually see the village being destroyed, and you have to fight the Guardian in each of their own iterations, and then there is a new, even further climactic battle, because the co-op version is going to be actually about defeating the final boss rather than just gaining experience points.
And then I'm not going to reveal too much because we've got a bunch of things that we're going to say. But so because the experience points, which are also the victory points in the competitive version, are not the mechanism by winning the game. We've introduced other ways that now you use those in the game that can help you cooperate more effectively with each other, and that allow you to specialize so that as a group you can sort of say, I'm going to focus more on the healing aspect and make sure that everybody's okay, and I want to be a monster hunter, or I'm going to be the sort of town guard type character. Nice. So that each person will get a role that will help them utilize the experience, so the experience that they gain will still be valid, but they will like most card games, they will be on a clock. They don't want the village to be destroyed. Yes. And at the same time, there will be pressure on them to actually go in and defeat monsters in the village before they come in. So and it builds and builds and builds until you have the final climactic fight.
I see. Okay, so that is Thunderstone Quest. You have another game you're wanting to show.
I do have another game that I'm wanting to show.
But in order to show that, we're going to have to take a very quick break. And we're back. Okay, so we have switched out the tabletopper. What do we have now?
What we have now is a game that's recently come out called Space Base.
Space Base, okay.
And this is a game where you are one of the officers on a space base, and you have your own sector.
I see.
A series of sectors where spaceships come in, and your job is to turn them around and get them out, exploring the universe and doing the thing that they're supposed to do. And the person who does that most effectively is the one who's going to get promoted to be the Space Commodore.
I see. So this is our starting tile, yeah?
Yeah.
This is how we begin.
This is how we begin. What you can see is it's a tableau builder, and we use dice. You have numbers 1 to 12.
Yes.
And you basically roll the dice.
Yes.
And when you roll the dice, you can either use the sum total, in this case 9, or you can use the individual scores, which is 3 and 6.
So that would be here or here.
Yeah, so in the example of the 3 and the 6, this would, if you use that would get you 2 credits, and you would move the credits up. These credits are used to encourage new ships to come into your base. But when a new ship comes, when a new ship comes into your base, the old one has to leave and go out to space.
I see.
So let's have a look here. So we have 6 credits here. Yep. The ships in the shipyard are sort of leveled. So you have a range of sort of 2 to 5, then 7 to 9, and then sort of 11 or 12 plus.
Yeah.
And so as your economy builds and as you become more effective, you can sort of ramp up the power of your ships.
I see. So with 6 credits here, I could possibly buy this one for 2 credits.
Yeah, these are 2.
So I would come back to here.
So now,
pay the 2, and then this goes into slot.
It comes all the way down to 0. You always spend all of your money.
I see.
In this situation with 6, you might want to save it, or you might want to.
I see.
So
this would go into slot.
This would go in, The start of the game, you always start the game with 1 ship already left.
I see.
So sorry, we're jumping around.
Okay.
So the first thing you do is actually everybody gets a free ship.
Okay.
So when the ship comes in, it goes into the station here. And we start the game with 1 ship already out in space.
I see.
Okay.
And I'm guessing each of these different pieces along the bottom is telling us what we're doing with it. Yes.
On your turn, when you have the dice, the blue abilities are what you'll get. So as we said here, with the roll of this, you would get a 3 and 6. This would get you the 2. And then as you said, you can buy the 6.
Yes.
So if you want to pop that in. So that goes into your 6 dock. This ship is sent out into space.
Okay.
And we then, to show it's been sent out into space, we put it over here.
I see.
Now, the red abilities of any ships that are out in space activate on every other player's turn.
Okay.
And you still have the same choices that you have. So now on the next player's turn, if they roll this, which is 5 and a 1, a nice little rocket.
Yes.
It's convenient with the example we have here, because I could, although it's the other player's turn, if this is my tableau, I can choose to activate any red 1s that are in space, any red 5s that are in space, or the 6. In this case, I have the 6. So although when you buy, your credits go down to 0.
You're starting to earn a little bit from everybody who's
even before it gets back round to my turn.
I see. Okay? I see. The economy in this game with more players sounds as if it's going to be very interesting.
So yes, and actually, the interesting thing is, I think it's a really fun 2-player game, and it's a fun but slightly different sort of 5-player game. The real beauty of it is this mechanism means that you're always engaged in every player's role. Yes. And you know, some of the games we've had have, you know, it sounded very much like a sort of crap stable at Baker. Come on, hit me with the double three, hit me with the double three, hit me with the double three, you know, and then there's a big cheer when it does. Apart from the person whose turn it was who really wanted to hit 11.
Okay. No, sorry, I've interrupted you.
No, go for it.
A couple of questions then. I'm seeing 2 other resources here. So we have this green one and this blue one. Yeah. So what are these? Okay,
so I'll do the blue one first, even though it's the bottom, because it's fairly simple. The blue one is victory points. We earn victory points. Is this a good place to show that?
Well, I can bring it right in here.
There. So victory points are the rockets.
Yes.
Okay. So the card you have, for example, there. Yeah. If that was currently,
so it would be in my slot 8.
It'd be in your slot 8.
I'll go there.
Yeah, that's right. So if you'd bought that would go there. Now on your turn, if you roll an 8,
yes,
you are going to gain 4 victory points and you're going to go up the track.
I see.
If you later replaced it and got another 8 card, and an 8 was rolled on another player's turn, you would get 2 victory points and you would get the 2 credits from the previous one. So you can stack and stack and stack and stack. So there are a number of strategies with the game, because you can try and stack numbers, and then there are effects in the game which will effectively allow you to sort of I put this one, I don't know if you can pop that in the right place.
So this one is a 4?
It's a 4, right?
So if this one will come out, this will go out, and we would put that in there.
So in this one, on my turn, if I roll a 4, I can put an activation counter on this.
Oh, I see.
And now a green ability can be used on any turn. And what that allows me to do is, for purposes of my use, I can add 1 or 2 to the total number rolled on 2 dice. So
you start to build control in.
So you're building elements of control in there.
Yeah.
Same thing, when it flips round, it's got an activation, but I can only add 1 there. But
I'm seeing what you're doing here, because you're deciding, is the in-space ability valuable to me? Well, is the new ability more valuable than the one I have? And allowing me to have that extra ability still there means that I'm not losing what I've already purchased.
You're not losing it. And sometimes sometimes the abilities change a little bit between a little between what they will do in your tableau and when they're in your space station and in space.
Yes.
There's different strategies. You can try and cover all the numbers.
Yeah.
So that you always get a little bit of something.
Yes.
Or you can try and focus hard on one number and then use effects like this. I mean, there are even effects that simply say, you use the card next to this. Of course, I won't be able to put my hand straight on one, but
so basically, you widen the actual odds of actually getting the number you want.
Oh, in fact, we've got one in here already.
Right, I see. So what do we have here?
So this one just means use the card to the left or right. So now, when that 10 hits, you can actually choose. So if you've built 9 up as a number, this is a good 10 card for you.
Yes. Well, actually, it's a good 10 card because it does 9 and 11.
Or 9 or 11.
Yes. Oh, right. So do I have to choose whenever I'm using this?
Yeah. When you use it, you use 9 or 11.
Yeah, but it means that if someone hits on this, I can choose which one of those I want. Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. It's not. You don't have to choose when you put it down. But you have to choose at the time that it's rolled.
Yeah. Now you've set up a late game up the top.
Well, I would say this is a sort of medium sort of game, and in this one as well. I'm just going to mention what the green cube does because you asked about that. One of the mechanisms of the game is when you buy any card, you effectively spend all of your credits.
Yes.
But what your income does is it means that once your turn's done, your credit level always starts at equal to whatever your income is. So this sort of sets a new minimum that's not 0.
I see.
So early game, if you can build up a bit of income.
Yeah.
I might spend 6 credits on a card here.
Yeah.
And normally that would push me all the way down to 0. But really, I got that card for 1 because it's going straight back up. Straight back up. So income is another interesting mechanism that you can sort of. Particularly, I think if you invest in it early, it means really you're getting cards discounted quite heavily.
Yeah. So actually finding those and finding them cheaply within the communal area here, because I'm assuming everybody's buying from here.
Everybody's buying from here. Everybody buys from the shipyard, and you refill it constantly.
Yeah, and I'm assuming your only limit is, do I have the money to pay for it?
Yes, you can only buy one card unless some other card effect lets you do that. You can only bring one new ship in. But yes, the limiting factor is your money, and it is tiered. Now, you can save your money between turns. You can choose not to buy something. The other thing with the game is obviously the higher up the tableau you get, the better the effects are.
Yes.
So there are even cards that will allow you to kind of switch the positions of all your cards in one sector with another.
I see.
So because the game has that interesting dice kind of splitting or isolation mechanic.
Yes.
The sort of the number frequency, you say to most people 2d6, what's the best number? And they'll say to you 7.
Well, 6, 7, yeah.
6, 7.
Yeah.
But actually 6 is significantly better than 7 because you can have 6 on 2 dice or on 1 dice.
Yes.
So anytime anyone's 6 is rolled. So your sort of order is 6 down through 1, then 7 up through 12 in terms of how frequent they are. So being able to build up a high number is great because usually if it hits once, it'll be a big payoff.
Yeah.
But then you can even play the game of, well, I've got a card that lets me switch my 8 with my 5.
Yeah.
And so now I've got these good value 8 cards, and I'm bringing them down onto a slot that's going to hit even more often.
Yeah, it's that you've got essentially a little bit of a controlled chaos mechanic with being able to actually add the dice together or pick them individually.
Yeah.
Now, if I pick them individually, do I just pick the one or do I pick both?
You pick both.
You get both.
Yeah, and I mean you don't necessarily need to be able to use both. So if we're in an early game situation, which we've kind of upgraded a bit here.
Yeah.
But if somebody rolled a 4 and a 1. I don't have anything on 5 on your turn, and I don't have anything on 1, but I've got the 4, so I'm just going to say I'll take that as a 4 and as 1 because I get the 1 credit off. So it really is, it's open. You can choose to, I suppose, interpret the dice whichever way you choose.
All right, now here's a question for you then. Let's say someone rolls a double 4. Can I get this twice because of the double 4? So I can just go, I'll have the 4 and the 4, or I'll have the 8.
Yes, you can.
Okay, early game that's interesting as well, because then instead of the 8, which at that point, well, at the beginning point, it would give me just 2 coins. I could do it with the 2 4s and get 2 coins as well. So it kind of balances out, but it depends on what way you're building up then.
Yeah, the early card 7 and 8 are actually 3 coins each. So 7 and 8 is usually better than some combination because the actual starting cards are, I think I'm right without going back and looking, that 1 through 6 are all 1s, but then 7 and 8 are 3s, and then 9, 10, 11 up actually boost your income.
I see.
So if you get an early game hit on those and boost income, it's good. 7, 8 are good numbers early because they're better than dividing the dice. But you can always, early on in the game, you're always going to get at least 2 credits.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. I'm liking the idea of this game. I want to actually sit down and play a full game. I know I won't get time this weekend, but there are too many games I want here. This one's going on the list. I'm going to say that right now.
We've had an awesome response. It's very engaging, keeps you going the whole time. You play once one player crosses 40 victory points. That's when you basically finish by coming back to the starting player.
Right.
Do you want me to mention those cards or not?
Oh yes. What are these?
So
I'll grab
there is just one other kind of card.
Okay.
These are these are cards that when you buy them, they go into the numbered sector. But they sort of close it off. Once you put one of these down, you can't build there anymore.
I see.
But they are worth a lot of victory points. I mean, the top one that goes on the 12 is.
You can get 12 victory points off the top one, I believe. That's really going to ramp up the speed of the game.
It's higher than that. It's the 12 is 40 points there.
Apologies.
But it costs 42 gold.
Yeah, but if you get to the point where you've got the 42 gold, that's a really nice way to speed up the end game of it. And if I'm a player and I see my opponent has got that, I'm going to start to get really nervous about actually needing to actually stop them and build my own. Are there any of the cards that let you interact with what your opponent has? Is there any sort of take that mechanic to this? Or is this all, I act in isolation, it is my tactics of what I want to build?
There are not significant take that mechanics. There's a card that causes people to lose victory points, which is another way of sort of keeping you up with the lead or stopping somebody from going across. But there's not a specific kind of take that mechanic in this. It is more you're trying to do your thing. I think. Having said that, I think there's a sort of strategy in that if you can see somebody building a number and you think that's looking dangerous, then you can look at here and say, well,
should I start building that number myself to deny it to them?
both deny it to them and benefit from it when they roll it, right?
Yeah.
You know, because potentially if somebody has got a number then that they're going to get a big benefit off, then both denying them and possibly getting some benefit from yourself.
Definitely.
It's not a true take that, and it's not just a kind of spike draft. It's a sort of, actually, I just need to keep up with you a little bit.
Yeah, it's right? me saying, look, you're benefiting, I want to benefit too whenever you're rolling this.
Yeah.
Very good idea.
And then I think you've got the strategy. You can kind of play a drip victory point strategy. You can cover all the numbers. You can go for one number with the big boost. I saw a game yesterday where two players were playing, and one person was on 21 victory points before the other person had scored. But they'd gone quite early into buying these. They sort of got to about 15 victory points, and then just said, "No, I'm going to see if I can race to the end."
Yeah.
And of course. But once you start putting these down, your own turn is starting to lock out a little bit. Yeah. And they sort of eked out a win, I think, by like 1 or 2 points by the end of the game, because the other person had got an engine that had just started to work. Yeah. And it was that thing that they were halfway there, but
the rubber band was
kicking in. They were catching up because you know, their engine was starting to hum, and they could manipulate the dice a bit and move them up and hit that big number, and that gave them victory points. And then they were able to get more credits, which meant they could buy some of the more top end ones, and they were just racing, and it ended up within sort of 2 points, and that was
impressive.
So there's a lot of different ways to play it. It's deceptive, and we just always have a ton of fun.
No, this looks to be something that I would love to sit down for like a long play in the evening and actually just take your time with it, just relax with you, maybe 1 or 2 friends, and actually just really go to town on the tactical depth that you can have with this game. That's what I'm seeing, is just the actual economy and the actual decisions on what you're going to buy to actually build that engine to get you to the end game. Very interesting, very cool. Right, I think we will wrap up there.
Okay.
Final question. This one, is it available to buy?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's been out.
Okay, excellent. And just remind everybody of your location within the halls.
I am demoing this at the Asmodee UK booth.
Yes, so that's in Hall 1?
In Hall 1,
yep.
In the back corner.
All right, well, just look for the man in the red and black shirt if you're wanting to come and give this game a go. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us today on the live stream. It has been absolutely fantastic. We have seen some amazing games coming through our doors. We will be back later on this evening, but for right now, we will be taking a bit of a break. So, everybody, we hope you're enjoying it. Remember to check out the live blog where we have all the prizes. We'll see you again soon.